All right, off the practice field here in the tunnel at Levi's Stadium. And the first thing I have to say about 49ers practice is that Ricky Pearsall is heating up. The rookie wide receiver dropped his first pass today. It was going to be a tough catch. He had to adjust to the football. Brock Purdy intentionally put it a little bit behind him because otherwise the safety would have lit Pearsall up. But after that, he made the circus catch of 49ers training camp. It was bounced up into the air by D. Winters, the linebacker, who was covering Ricky on the play. Then somehow, some way, Pearsall was able to keep his concentration on the football and one-hand it despite D. Winters being in his lap while he kept both feet in bounds for the reception. So super impressive from Ricky Pearsall, who had some circus catches on tape back when he was a receiver at Florida. And those were circus catches even in the midst of heavy contact. A little bit later, Ricky Pearsall generated massive separation against Isaac Yiadom on a simple in and then out breaker. So this is a guy who can separate. He did it again in the red zone drills where Brock Purdy threw one of his 3 touchdowns to Ricky Pearsall. Good news for the 49ers because it's only, a couple practices in for Ricky Pearsall, only 2 practices with full team drills for him. And he has looked really good as far as separation ability goes, ability to beat press man coverage. That was going to be the big question of training camp, and I think the early indications are very positive for Ricky Pearsall. I mentioned Brock Purdy. No interceptions today. I know that's not a big deal. I know some people try to make it a big deal, but Purdy looked really solid, as he has for most of this training camp, and especially in the red zone. A couple days ago, the red zone was a disaster for the 49ers offense, but you see that especially early in camp because teams are installing new things. The offensive timing is not yet where it needs to be. Defense typically starts camp a little bit ahead of the offense, so it's no surprise that the second red zone session for the 49ers offense today was much crisper than the first. George Kittle, touchdown catch. Purdy hit him. George is a cheat code. He was working out of the slot, and George Odom was trying to cover him, the safety, but Purdy's going to take that one-on-one matchup every time. We saw a punch thrown today, which I never think is a good idea. Jalen Graham swung at Drake Nugent, the rookie center. Jalen, a second-year linebacker. To Nugent's credit, he didn't retaliate. He just stood there, and these guys have helmets on, which I think makes these punches not very good ideas. And on top of having helmets on, they've got that padding on, so maybe that actually protects the hand a little bit. Kyle Shanahan won't be happy about that from Jalen Graham, but he will be happy about Graham delivering earlier in this practice alongside D. Winters, who I've already mentioned. I thought it was a very positive day for the second-year linebackers. We saw both of those guys play the run well in this practice. I'm going to get into a little bit more detail about some of the coverage that we also saw. Of course, D. Winters, I thought, did a good job against Ricky Pearsall on the circus catch, but Pearsall was able to haul it in anyway. And then the safeties also were playing well today, the young guys. Malik Mustafa registered what would have been a sack if he could actually tackle the quarterback in practice. Really well-timed blitz. He excelled in that at Wake Forest in college. And then Taylor Hawkins, who was on the 49ers practice squad last season, he thudded up Cam Latu, the second-year tight end, with a big hit on a pass downfield. It was into the seam and dislodged the ball from Cam Latu. Clean hit for Taylor Hawkins. Looked very nice. Surprise receiver, I mentioned this in the title, who delivered today. Ronnie Bell, second-year wideout, former 7th-round pick for the 49ers out of Michigan. Ronnie made a couple catches today that were highly contested. One was for a touchdown in red zone against Ambry Thomas, and I know that Ambry Thomas has struggled with allowing contested catches over the course of his career. Strength has always been his biggest weakness, but the other contested catch for Ronnie Bell came against Charvarius Ward, the 49ers top cornerback and all-pro. So you've got to acknowledge that is a big-time arrow up for Ronnie Bell, who, to be safe in making this 53-man roster is going to have to show a little bit more comfort in punt return because it's such a deep roster that you've got to contribute on special teams.